Yesterday I thought there was actually hope for the British public, but then at the end of the show, they let me down again. I'm a Celebrity episode 8 and Colin was talking about visiting the White House to see President Trump and everybody's standing around listening like, interesting. I'm one of those people where I would listen and then I would go, oh, was that before or after he took away women's rights? Because it was after. Why did you go? Because if President Trump phoned me up and invited me over for Christmas, I'd be like that, oh, do you know what, Donald? Thanks for the invite, but go and take a flying fuck to yourself. And she says, oh, he wanted Wayne to teach his son how to play football. And they're like, oh, that's great, isn't it? No, it's not great. What's great about it? What is great about Donald Trump inviting you to his house, taking away women's rights, trying to take away the rights of gay people, and then saying, oh, will you train my son to play football? Is that a joke? It's not as bad, but when Nathan was talking about King Charles and Big Brother, and they're like, oh, that's amazing, isn't it? That's great. You've met King Charles. No, what's great about it? I had 2 chances to meet royals, and they says, oh, when they come in, you need to stand up and you need to bow or curtsy or whatever. I was like, I need to stand up and curtsy to somebody or bow? Am I fuck? No thanks. Anyway, that's not the point. GK was well impressed. She was in what I call the diary room, but I don't know what they call it on I'm a Celebrity. And she was saying, oh, she's had some life. Like, she was telling us she was in the White House, and I was like, oh, take a step back. Like, so impressed. And I thought, why would you be impressed that she's met Donald Trump? She's a lesbian. Does she not realise that he's trying to take away the rights of gay people, take away the fact that they can get married and adopt kids and all the rest of it? I'm not trying to make this a political video, but people are impressed by things and I just don't understand it. Another thing that doesn't impress me whatsoever is footballers. I used to work in a casino and we got footballers in all the time, mostly Celtic and Rangers players, and people would be like, oh my god, that's that goalie, oh my god, that, and I'd be like, that cool. Aye, cool. One thing that did impress me though was their jewellery, because there was this guy that played for Celtic and he had this watch on. He was actually stunning, I don't know his name, but he had this watch on and I was like, whoa, good watch. But I mean, being a football player, like, oh, cool, nice one. It was time for the Bush Tucker trial and finally somebody else was going to get a go. And I seen a story online and it says that Colin was wearing £40,000 earrings and people were like, oh my god, £40,000 for earrings? That's disgraceful. And I was like, her and her husband's net worth is over 200 million. £40,000 isn't really a lot of money. One thing that I was surprised at though is that it was £40,000 for a pair of just basic studs. If you're going to spend that money, at least make them interesting. And also, I probably wouldn't have wore them into a Bush Tucker trial, to be fair. But other than that, like, let people spend their money on what they want. On Love Island UK, I think it was Michael Owen's daughter, she had on a Tiffany necklace. And everybody kept going on about, oh my god, that cost £20,000. And I was like, our dad's got money. So what? Why are people so obsessed with how much other people spend on their stuff? Anyway, again, that's not the point. They done the Bush Tucker trial, and one of them had to be locked into the back of a van while all these rats and all that fell in, and then the other one had to search. So Colin went into the back of the van, best decision, because Dean wouldn't have lasted 2 seconds in there. And I knew that she wasn't going to quit because she's just one of the people, she's extremely determined. I think most of the people in that camp are like that. I know we've not seen them doing tasks yet. But Dean, he was going for it, right? But on the way into the trial, she says, oh, we have to do better than last time. What's your highest stars that you've got? And he's like, 8. I was like, 8? Was it? Was it 8 though? Or did you get 2 and Danny got the rest? Let's not take the credit for others' work. So Dean was really going for it, and I know that he did waste a lot of time kind of flailing about like, because stuff was falling on him. But at least he's tried his best. I was sitting watching this with my friend and they were like, that guy's absolutely useless. What is he all about? And I was like, you should have seen him doing the other trials. Like, at least in this one he was trying, and he really, really tried. You know what I mean? And she done amazing. I don't think that I could line the back of a truck with cockroaches all over me. Rats fine, worms okay, but cockroaches are too much. They were going everywhere. I was like, bleh. On the way into the trial, she says that her boys would be watching and they would be looking forward to her doing a trial. So after the show, for whatever reason, my friend was looking something up and they said, oh, apparently Wayne Rooney has been voting for her to do trials and he wants to go in next year. And I was like, oh, wow, more stories about Wayne Rooney. Woo! To be fair, I don't usually watch I'm a Celebrity. I'd only watched a couple of seasons before this. And I usually stop watching it when I see any like cruelty to animals, but so far it's not been too bad. But I mean, Wayne Rooney in the jungle. Yay. Do you know what, actually they keep talking about how much a legend is and all that, and I'm not into football, as you can tell. But is there anybody out there who would be like that? Oh, yes, I love Wayne Rooney. He's the man. He's amazing. There must be people out there that think that if they keep calling him a legend. Let me know in the comments. Otis and GK went to do a trial and had to drive these wee mini cars and answer questions. And again, they done an amazing job. And by the way, how nice is Otis? She woke up in the morning and she was like, oh, Richard can have my bed. She's just so nice, right? I am the sort of person who's like, do you know what? We all signed up for this. We all knew what we were getting into. And if he's happy to have a hammock, let him have the hammock. You know, I'm not the nicest person in the world, I must admit. But she's just so nice. She's always listening to people, giving them advice. She's so lovely. Everybody in that camp's lovely pretty much. Some of their true colours are starting to show now, but mostly they're all really nice. So GK and OT won the task and they won one boiled sweet each. One. For all the effort they put in, you'd have thought that they gave them at least 3 different flavours each. It's fucking harsh in there, man. It was time for the camp to have new leaders, and I kind of felt like there should have been a challenge to be the leader rather than them being just told who it is. Unless, was there a vote on an app or something that I missed? So Danny and Barry became the new leaders and they had to decide who was doing the chores for the week. And Jane was like, oh, I don't like doing cleaning. So when they were allocating the chores, Danny was like, do you know, do you think we've made it a bit male heavy on like the heavy jobs? And Barry was like, no, I don't, right? And I genuinely don't think that that's how he was thinking, but that is obviously what he was doing. Now, I am the sort of person who's like, I am weak, and I really mean that. So if a man came to me and says, oh, do you need me to carry the bags? Oh, do you need me to do this? I'm like that, yes, please. Right, and I will play up on it. Whereas I've got a friend who, if a taxi driver says, oh, do you want me to take the bags for you? She would be offended. But she's strong as fuck. Obviously it was a different story when I went on holiday in Eastern Country and the men kept addressing the guy instead of me. Like, that's a different story. But listen, see if you're wanting to lift my heavy bags, on you go. When they came back and told Jane she was doing the cleaning, she was like, oh, is that because I'm a woman? And he was like, oh no, it's because you're like 60 or whatever. And she's like, oh, ageist and sexist. And I do think that she was joking to a certain extent, but I do think that she was raging that she was on the cleaning. So then it was a bit of a shame because Danny and Barry felt bad and you could see that they were like, oh, we don't really know if we've offended people or whatever. Let me know in the comments if you think she was joking. I think she was joking to a certain extent, but I think that they took it way too much to heart. But as they're always saying, emotions are heightened in there. I guess we'll really find out for sure next week when whoever's in charge of the camp gives her the heaviest jobs to do, and we'll see how she reacts to that. At the end of the show, Ant and Dec came in and told them that Dean was going to do another Bush Tucker trial. When are people going to stop voting for him? We want to see other people doing it, and whether they do well or not, then we'll see. But I'm actually tired of him doing all the trials now. And Talisa was like, oh, it's definitely Heights because that was on my exemption form. But anyway, let me know what you thought of last night's episode. Do you think that Jen was kidding on? And I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye!